Trojan Sports now.
Hello and welcome into another edition of Trojan Sports Now. I'm Jahmal Kennedy.
And I'm Renfrow. Stick around as we bring you the latest news and scores from Troy Athletics. Good evening once again, Trojans. We're back and ready to talk sports. It was a game between the Trojan football team and Southern Mississippi that head coach Neil Brown said would be a pivotal moment for the Troy football program. Now, before we get into Saturday's game, let's take a look at this team's accomplishments so far this season. First, the Trojans knocked off Austin Peay in the season opener, then traveled to South Carolina to take on the then number 2 ranked Clemson Tigers. And though they left with a loss, the Trojans did more than just take on the Tigers. They put themselves in a position to win the football game. And on Saturday night, the Trojans were in search of their second win of the season.
Troy has won in this series for the first time since 1935.
Coach Brown asked us in the beginning of the week, like, who are we? Like, this was a defining moment, especially coming off from the Clemson game. Like, we didn't want people to look at us as a fluke.
Got down 7-0 early in the contest on a pick six.
And after that pick six, the Trojans came back to take the lead and didn't look back, scoring 2 touchdowns in 23 seconds in the first quarter, hanging on to that lead for the rest of the game.
Too easy.
And we controlled the game throughout. We talked about that after the game. And then we ran the ball really effectively. The best of the O-lines played in the running game against a team that moves a lot up front since I've been here.
And speaking of the running game, running back Jordan Chun carried the ball a total of 36 times on Saturday, finishing with 181 yards and 1 touchdown.
I feel like since day one to now that we all locked in and we're starting to play for each other.
The Trojan football team is now 2-1 on the season after defeating Southern Miss over the weekend by a final score of 37-31. Now let's take a look at this Trojan offense. The Trojans finished on Saturday night with a total of 309 yards of offense. And if you look closely enough, you may or may not have seen a guy in the backfield who rushed for 181 yards on Saturday. Oh, and can I forget that one play where he literally took flight into the end zone?
Back Picasso Nelson to stop. Chun
Same
again,
play.
sheds one, and into the open field. Chun stretching out.
They're giving it to him.
He's in.
It was a game that came down to the final second.
Mullins to the end zone, incomplete.
An incomplete Eagle pass that flew to the back of the end zone and resulted in Troy's second win of the season.
Really proud of our guys' effort and their grit.
And in that Trojan effort, junior running back Jordan Chun carried the football a total of 36 times in Saturday's 37-31 win.
I don't necessarily ever want to get him 36 carries again, but I thought he got better as it went. I would like for that number to be around 25. I think that's a more healthy number.
Coach Brown explains how an offseason plagued with injuries has affected Chun's performances.
His time away, not only in the fall, but really only went through 1 or 2 spring football practices because of another injury. I think he found his desire, found his hunger for wanting to be a player.
And Chun comments on his third quarter touchdown run and his leap into the end zone.
I think it was the safety that had like an angle on me, so I was like, let me slow up a little bit just so I can jump over him, because I knew he was about to cut me off because he had a really good angle on me.
Junior quarterback Brandon Silvers moved into a tie with quarterback coach Levi Brown for 6th place on the all-time career passing touchdown list with 38. And junior running back Jordan Chun also notched his 23rd career rushing touchdown, 11 shy of the school record.
And while the Trojan football team took the field in Mississippi, the Trojan soccer team and volleyball teams both had a busy weekend. Starting things off with the soccer team, the Trojans defeated App State on Friday night and looked to carry that momentum into Sunday afternoon's game against Arkansas State. Both teams were scoreless in the first half, but in the second half, Troy's Nicole Harris found the back of the net from a pass from senior Abby Reynolds. The Red Wolves tied the game up at 1 in the 65th minute, sending the game to overtime. And as you can see, overtime didn't matter much, leaving both teams scoreless and ending in a 1-1 tie. The Trojans finished the game with a season high of 25 shots. Head coach Jason Hamilton said after the game, quote, "We didn't deserve to win that game whatsoever."
And it was on Sunday that the Trojans couldn't pull out a win against Arkansas State, but still managed to tie it at 1-1 in a draw after 2 overtimes. The Trojans took a season-high 25 shots in the game, and Arkansas State only had 3 total shots in almost 2 hours of action. Head coach Jason Hamilton said that he was disappointed in his team's effort and hopes that someone on the team will step up soon.
I think it's just a game that we didn't we had control of the game and we just didn't finish them off. I mean, I think we outshot them 25-3, and it was a game that, we had the ball a lot. We played in their half a lot, and we just didn't have anyone who wanted to step up and kind of put their body on the line and just make that big play.
The Trojans fired 11 shots on goal, and both teams evened up with fouls at 10 apiece.
And while the soccer team had its struggles, it was somewhat the same story for the Trojan volleyball team in Starkville, Mississippi, as the Trojans took the court in the Maroon Classic. After 3 straight losses to Portland and Mississippi State and Eastern Illinois, the Trojans faced off against Florida International. The Trojans fell to the Panthers in 3 straight sets, falling behind early in the first by a final score of 25-22. The Trojans fought to tie it up at 21, but 3 straight Panther points late in the second set led to a final of 25-23. And in the third set, the Trojans and Panthers were all tied up again at 20, but it was the Panthers who clawed their way back to victory after 5 straight points, defeating the Trojans 3-0. And with its loss to the Panthers, that's now 4 straight losses for this Trojan team.
Confidence has also been built for the Trojan volleyball team, even though they may not have won its tournament this past weekend, losing some close matches in Starkville, Mississippi, and their record may now stand at 6-9, but according to head coach Sonny Kirkpatrick, it's not always about the numbers. What's within is what counts.
The fact that we're playing so much better going into conference play is definitely a plus. You definitely don't want to look at the wins and losses and say, well, you know, your record's not very good. We're actually starting to get really kind of confident in what we're doing, and that's a lot of fun to watch in practice and in matches.
The Trojans are working hard to improve, and confidence plays a huge role. Their goal is to figure out a way to win those close sets and to continue to get better.
And what is going on in the world of Trojan sports? Let's jump right into it. Should I swing into it with the, or dare I say swing into it with the men's golf team? The Trojans completed play on Tuesday at the Intercollegiate at the Grove in Tennessee, finishing in 5th place out of 14 teams, tying with the number 3 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. So senior Clayton Vanoy led the way for the Trojans, shooting a trio of birdies in Tuesday's final round, while the Trojans as a team shot a combined 5 over par. In the tournament, the Trojans picked up wins against North Carolina State and the number 45 ranked Louisville Cardinals.
The Troy women's golf team has officially opened up its season. On Friday, the Trojans began play in the Tennessee at the Mason Rudolph Championship. And in a tournament that featured 9 teams in the Golf Week preseason top 50, the Trojans finished in 12th place in Sunday's final round. As for individual performances, Fatima Fernandez-Cano led the way, tying for 12th place after shooting 1 over par. The Trojans defeated number 42 Michigan State and number 50 Middle Tennessee.
So to come on Trojan Sports now, we'll have a preview of the Trojan football team's matchup against New Mexico State.
But first, Ron Renfrow sits down with Troy women's golfer, senior Gabby Oubre. Stick around, more Trojan Sports Now is coming your way.